So this video is going to be looking at Claudius's relationship with the Senate, the equestrians and the plebs, and you can see we've got a range of different sources including a couple of different coins as well. So like in previous videos, we're going to look at the emperor's relationship with the Senate before looking at the two other groups. So obviously keeping in mind, as we said previously, that the sources on Claudius tend to be quite negative because they are often from a senatorial perspective, and they don't like the fact that the Senate had powers taken away from them, and given to Claudius's freedmen. However, there is some quite positive stuff within this section on the Senate, which makes a change about Claudius. So there's some quite good things about his kind of behaviour in terms of trying to act kind of like more Augustus. So you've got Claudius did not presume to accept excessive honours, even refusing the forename Imperator, so he didn't take on the automatic title of being the commander of the army, not until he'd also taken over Britain and he was willing to take it. He also made sure that different members of his family weren't celebrated sort of openly, it was all done privately. He recalled no exile from banishment without senatorial position. So there's quite a lot of stuff being actually, despite the fact that lots of powers were taken away from the Senate in terms of their role and function to the Treasury and all that sort of stuff. He does ensure to go through every. I can't speak. He ensures to go through them for everything else. So he can't bring people back without their permission. He also, if he's kind of wanted to make some decisions judicially for his provinces, he then asks for the Senate to do this. He sits on an advisory board in trials, so to ensure that the trials were working correctly, which is all very good stuff. And because of this, the sources sort of behaviour endeared him to the people, so they loved him because he was acting quite Augustus-like, really, and obviously he's quite different from what we'd seen under Tiberius and Caligula. So they loved him so much that when there was a rumour that he'd been assassinated, everyone was really upset, and they start to be really angry with the Senate and the troops because they thought they'd been the ones behind it, and then actually ends up with the magistrates and giving loads of witnesses bring forward trying to assure the city that he was safe and he was actually coming back to Rome and nothing had happened. So this behaviour towards the Senate has this knock-on effect of making him really popular with the people. Also keep in mind that we talked about the building works, that he was building lots of like canals and water ducts and sorting out trade. All that sort of stuff would have also made him really popular with the people because obviously they had food and had water, which is kind of helpful. So in terms of consulships, he held 2 straight successive years, so one after the other, and then there's loads of gaps, and most of them, he says here, 4 6-month remainder only for 2. So he doesn't hold the consulship for full time. It's normally to promote family members. He took over the third from a consul just died, which no other emperor had done before, so he was filling in a spot, not because he necessarily wanted to be the consul. It says he was a conscientious judge, so this is all very positive, which is quite nice. Instead of always observing the letter of the law, he let himself be guided by a sense of equity. So he'd try and do the right thing, not necessarily the thing that was legally what was supposed to happen. When he thought the punishments prescribed were either too lenient or severe, he changed them, which is good. Well, not if you think it was too lenient and you're being punished more harshly, but in general terms, if it's being too harsh, that's a good thing. If anyone was found guilty of some really shocking crime, Claudius exceeded the legal penalty and condemned him to the wild beast. So that's not maybe quite so positive. But he's ensuring that the law courts are working effectively, that people who are being found guilty are actually being punished correctly, whether or not it's reducing punishments or increasing them on a case-by-case basis. We then have a different perspective on very similar information. So there's a sharp division of opinion between the people and the Senate. So the senators longed for a return to their former status, which we saw when obviously Claudius came to the throne, that the Senate appeared to want to go back to a republic, and they realised that they couldn't do so once the army had thrown its weight behind Claudius. So they're saying that the people loved him and the Senate was less keen, which fits in with this kind of senatorial bias we've talked about in the sources. So it talks about the people on one hand had no love for the Senate, so there's actually a division between the people in the Senate, which has been going on for centuries, to be honest. And they realised that the emperors had acted as a curb for its rapacity. So in other words, the Senate was being controlled by the emperor and stopping the Senate from passing laws that were obviously would harm the people. So that's why the people continued to support an emperor instead of wanting to go back to a republic. And that's why when they died by the kidnapped Thomas his accession, that's why they were really pleased that he became emperor, because they believed he would protect them. So this bit here essentially goes on about what happened when Claudius came to the throne. So it's talking about the fact that Claudius was taken by the Praetorians. And then at that point, some members of the Senate go to him and are quite rude to him. So it's his duty to make no attempt to seize the throne by force. He should rather defer to the Senate, recognising his subordinate position, but as one individual among many. So that's kind of the Senate's, appears to be the Senate's initial reaction to Claudius being taken by the Praetorian Guard. And it also said, what happened previously under previous times, so about Caligula and Tiberius, and how awful it had really been. And because he had suffered under this tyranny of Gaius as well, he hadn't really been kind of ignored, to be honest, but whatever, he should also make sure not to follow the same behaviour. So they said, if you listen to us, then and you agree to basically retire from public life, you won't be an emperor, they would give him lots of honours, and they would be more than happy to, because it would be a democracy. And if they failed to see sense, that they would not tolerate it, and then would obviously take some kind of action against him. Now, what ends up happening is obviously the Senate, the people who went to him, it's caused this also both tribunes, and they change their minds once they see them. Mainly, for they realise that Claudius was now protected by a large force, so the Praetorian Guard had thrown themselves behind him. So the Senate then actually acts like a supplement. Supplement? Suppliant, sorry. Not a supplement. So they kind of bow down and treat him as being above them. So all this kind of thing they're planning to say, turns out they just kind of throw themselves at his feet and like, we're not worthy, please don't kill us. And that if he has the throne, he should receive it as a gift from the Senate. So they changed their tune very quickly. So Claudius fully realised the Senate's delegation was an audacious bluff, but for the moment his own inclination veered towards avoiding confrontation. So he knows this bit here is basically the Senate backtracking probably what they were planning on saying, but he doesn't want to cause a fight, so he will just accept on the face of it what the Senate is saying, and then will accept the position from them as a gift of the Senate. And I was doing little inverted commas as I said that. So quite a different version of the relationship between Claudius and the Senate in that section. We then have another perspective, because you know the example, they like to give you about 10 million perspectives of the same thing. So Claudius' conduct was exemplary. That's nice, positives. On one occasion, in the Senate, consuls came from the seats to speak him. He got up and walked towards to meet them. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but he's treating them as equal, and that's the key thing. And that is kind of following this kind of Augustus behaviour. He's not acting like he's above them. They are all in the same boat together. And there's loads of other examples that he gives showing he's no better than anyone else. So he lived like an ordinary person when he was abroad. He dressed like Greeks, fine. He refused any gifts of money, which had become usual. This is talking about gifts in wills. So it was quite common for people to name the emperor as the main heir in a will, and they get like a percentage, and the rest of it would go to the family. So he basically refuses that. So he would not allow any relatives still living to nominate him as an heir. So he says, no, that's not fair. It should go to the family, which is quite nice. And he returns loads of funds that have been confiscated in Tiberius, and Gaius back to the victims or their families, which again, this is very nice. So there's lots of really good stuff here about Augustus. Claudius acting like Augustus. See, they're like one and the same, but slightly different. Again, he starts to sort of change religion ever so slightly. Not as much as probably, well, definitely not as much as other emperors, but the key thing here is that he tries to I'm trying to explain the whole paragraph. So essentially, in Roman religion, if anything in a ritual went wrong, you had to start all over again, no matter how far you'd got through it. And this could happen several times before the ritual would complete. But sometimes, according to this source, it would happen because it'd been carefully planned. So it was allowing people to kind of like rent out stuff or give out more food, etc. And they were gaining money from it. So Claudius says, okay, if this needs to be done, fine, but it only takes a day. We're not doing it over and over and over again. And in practice, he did not even allow this to happen. So he kind of allows religion and rituals to kind of get on with it, and not to kind of allow people to make money from it, which you can see is obviously quite a good religious change. So this could be linked to his religious policy, also to do with other religions here. So the number of Jews had increased so much, he can't ban them. So he doesn't expel them, but says they can, you continue to be obviously Jewish and live your traditional way of life, but don't hold meetings, so don't meet in synagogues. He also closed down some taverns where the plebs were meeting and drinking in order to sort of make them live better lives, which is a little bit kind of Orwellian, but I guess thanks Claudius. He returned to the cities the statues Gaius had summoned from them, so we restored religious statues, which is really good. when he did rebuild a temple and a theatre, he inscribed his own name but no other building, not because he built it, because he dedicated it. So again, kind of removing himself from the glory of doing his building work, he's giving the honours to other people. That's also going to make the people who are building the buildings happy, and also makes him look less like he's trying to control everything. So like I said, following again Augustus's line in this, did not wear triumphal dress throughout the whole festival, even if he voted for it, only wore it to carry out sacrifices. So again, it's kind of downplaying his otherness compared to the rest of the Senate and the other people in the area. So he also promotes senators, not in terms of positions, but in terms of as a body. So in the theatre, during the Republic, the Senate would have the best seats, and then the equestrians and the plebs, etc. So he essentially kind of restores this. So reserve for the senators the section for they now use. I was talking about when he was writing. Allows any senator so desire to sit anywhere else watching the games, even to wear informal dress. So they don't have to sit in that section, but if they want to, they can. If they don't want to, they can dress how they like. And he also feasted with the Senate and their wives, the equestrian order, and also the tribe. So he is one of the people. He's a man of the people. And he's promoting the Senate, making them look more special, which obviously would make them really, really happy. He then, this bit of Tacitus is not very interesting, to be completely honest. But essentially, there's been an issue. It's been an issue to do with the provinces and citizenship, and the Senate had kind of given some arguments. And the next day he convenes them again, and he gives this really unexciting speech about citizenship in the past. And I find encouragement to employ the same policy in my administration compared to what had happened previously, which is to give citizenship to provincials who had earned it, in inverted commas, by becoming more Roman, in order so not only individuals, many countries and nationalities form one body under the name of the Romans. So he's kind of Romanization, and to be honest, that's what the rest of this is saying, that it all happened and we've been letting people in forever and it was all better, and isn't it great? If you want to read through that section properly, you're more than welcome to. I read it twice, and that was the best bits I could come out from that particular section. This could, I will point out, maybe harm his relationship with the Senate. The Senate generally doesn't like the extension of citizenship to more non-Romans, because they see being Roman as being really special and just obviously for Romans. So this could, in theory, have harmed his relationship with the Senate a little bit, because he was encouraging Romanization of provincials. So that's how we can link it in. We then look at the next group, which is the equestrians. Most of the source, to be completely honest, does not talk about the equestrians, but a little bit at the beginning does, so that's why I've put it in this section. So Claudius made new relegations for the military careers of knights. After commanding an infantry cohort, they were promoted to a cavalry squadron, and then rose to full colonelcy. I can't say the word. So the promotion of equestrians within the army. He then starts targeting freedmen. So any freedman tried to pass him off as a knight found his property confiscated. So again, protecting the equestrians as a body. And then there's this really weird section here about slaves. So it sounds like he's being really nice, but he's also kind of not being nice, to be honest. So there's a load of sick slaves on an island in the river Tiber, which is in Rome. And in order to avoid the trouble of getting proper medical treatment, so to stop having to pay for them to, get better, Claudius freed them all and ruled that no one who got well again should return to the control of the former Roma. So the fact he freed the slaves is great, but he only frees them to save money, which isn't good, which is horrible, to be honest. He also then says furthermore that any owner who made away with a sick slave rather than abandon him should be charged with murder. So I'm not sure. I think made away with a sick slave, I think means, to help them on their way to death, should be charged with murder, which normally that wouldn't be considered a charge of murder. So there's a little bit of protection of slaves, I guess. It's just like a really weird way of looking at it. Is he protecting them because it's the right thing to do? No, because he's just trying to save costs. But anyway, we've got administrative change, station cohorts of fire brigades. Excellent, thank you very much. He then kind of protects Romans at the same time. So we talked about here, I'll go back up, about the promotion of Romanization. However, it became illegal for foreigners to adopt the names of Roman families. Any who usurped the rights of Roman citizens were executed in a particular field. Not very nice. Provinces of Greece and Macedonia are given back to the Senate. That promotes the Senate again. And he also restores the people of Rhodes independence. because they had kind of said, oh, we've been acting really badly, so he gives them the freedom, which is nice. Now, according to, which source are we on? Suetonius, Claudius did expel the Jews from Rome. So, which is true? Don't know. To be honest, one or the other. He also abolishes this Judaic cult, which is good, protecting Roman religion, attempted to transfer the Eleusinian mysteries from Attica to Rome, so protecting some holy books, good Roman religion stuff. Ruined Temple of Venus is restored, that's good. However, according to this part of Suetonius, one might say everything that Claudius did throughout his reign was dictated by his wives and freedmen. So even though Suetonius is pointing out some really good stuff that he has done in the promotion of equestrians, the promotion of Senate, protecting religion, it's all done just because his wives told him to do so. So there we have that kind of anti-Claudius bias coming in that Suetonius section. We then have the little bit of information about the plebs. So Claudius often distributed largesse to the people. Good, nice. Gave numerous magnificent public shows. Wonderful, great. Added in some new ones. He held some games at the rededication of Pompey's Theatre. I suppose we can highlight that while we're here. Why not? There we go. So that's good. So that would have obviously, games always make people happy. Celebrated the Sacred Games on the excuse that Augustus staged them before they were really due. To be fair to Claudius, this is true. Augustus had kind of fudged the datings to allow him to hold these games. So the Sacred Games were to renew Rome, to bring it to the Golden Age. Augustus had said that it had been mistimed previously, which allowed him to hold the games under his reign, shockingly. So Claudius does the same. He says, well, actually, Augustus had done this too early, so I'm just doing them when they're properly done. Obviously, if you're looking at it in terms of propaganda, it would make Claudius look good because he's also renewing Rome. But he has got a point about the dating. Problem is, a lot of people who were still alive who had seen the games under Augustus, so it becomes a bit of a joke that he'd done it early because he should have done it, and he was trying to act like Augustus. So that's just a bit of a dig at him. So we've got chariot races, there's wild beasts shows as well, which also make people very happy. Again, there's the reservation of seats for senators at games. Where they had to previously sit with the plebs, but now they're being promoted, so that would have made the Senate happy. There's lots of things about making people happy here. We've also got gladiatorial games to celebrate his accession, so again, celebrating Claudius because he's Claudius. He acts like a pleb, so exposing his left hand in plebeian fashion when distributing prizes. A small thing, but it, again, makes him look like one of the people. Stages on the Campus Martius, realistic storm and sack of a town, with a tableau of the British King's surrender, which he presided in his purpled campaigning cloak. So obviously this is talking about the campaign of Britain, so obviously he's going to have games showing how brilliant his campaign was and how successful he is as a leader, because it'll make him more popular. Fine. He also has a sham sea fight on a lake, which would make him look really popular. There's just lots of games, lots of good stuff that the plebs would have enjoyed, and giving out food and the money and the games and everything else, so that's great. So much so that a coin is dedicated to this. So we've got the goddess of corn, on the coin. So there is the goddess of corn, obviously showing that Claudius had solved the famine issue, which he did. Obviously, when we talked about when we did Caligula, at the end of his reign, there was famine in Rome, and they're literally a few days away from complete running out of any food. And obviously, Claudius had solved this particular problem by sorting out the ports and the harbours, etc. So that's why he has this corn goddess on one side of the coin and being distributed out. This type of coin would have been really common. It's one of the lowest levels of coins in the Roman monetary system, so everybody would have seen these coins. It's not like the gold ones that cost a lot of money. These ones would have been sort of absolutely everywhere. Obviously, also, we know the Augustan goddess of corn, linking to Augustus while we are at it as well, which is always handy. And another coin he produces in order to kind of remind people of his glorious kind of family. So we've got a little bit there with Augustus's goddess of corn. We also have a gold coin is produced, showing his father's German victories. He's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing. Germanicus is really popular. Oh, look, I'm his dad, isn't this? I am his son. Sorry, he's my dad. Aren't I great? So all these kind of lots of really positive stuff. So you've got, as I said, the promotion of the Senate. You've got the promotion of the plebs. You've got the promotion of the equestrians. You've got games and things for the plebs. You've got kind of citizenship being kind of given out, which may have obviously helped his relationship with the with the provinces, sorry, and maybe harmed his relationship with the Senate a little bit. We've also got some good provincial reforms being going on. There's like religious reforms going on. Like I said previously, Claudius is really good at the kind of nitty-gritty of running an empire, and that's why there's all these kind of little changes that make the running of Rome a lot better.